So, you want to write a book, but you're having problems with motivation. If you're ADHD or autistic, like me, it's not enough to just want to write. Because even when you want to do something, executive function issues can make that impossible. You'll sit down with the best intentions, ready to crank out that next chapter, only to find yourself lost in distractions. But here's the thing. You don't have to let those challenges crush your motivation. There are ways to make writing feel less like a struggle and more like something you can look forward to, even on the hard days. In this video, I'm sharing a handful of solid, effective techniques that can help neurodiverse writers stay motivated, overcome the roadblocks, and actually enjoy the writing process. So let's jump in, because you've got stories to tell, and the world is waiting to hear them. Hi, I'm Devlin Blake, and I'm excited you're here. As a neurodiverse author, I know how overwhelming writing and publishing a book can be, especially with a full-time job and busy life. I once thought I could never be a published author, but everything changed with Amazon Kindle and KDP in 2007. Now, with over 200 books written and ghostwritten, I help neurodiverse writers write better and faster using AI. I'll guide you in writing and self-publishing with confidence, making the process easier and more fun. First things first. Let's talk about creating a writing routine that works with your natural rhythms. Let's face it. There's a ton of advice out there about sticking to a strict writing schedule. They talk about getting up at 5 a.m., or committing to 2,000 words a day, or building a habit and using a tracker so you don't end your streak. But here's the thing. Those schedules are designed for neurotypical brains. They don't always align with how we work best. If your energy levels fluctuate wildly or if your focus goes in bursts, forcing yourself into a rigid routine can lead straight to frustration and burnout, and an eventual resentment of your own book. We don't want that, and we don't have to accept it. The trick is to build a routine that fits your natural patterns. Are you more creative in the mornings, or are you a night owl who comes alive when everyone else is asleep? Do you work best in short, intense bursts, or do you prefer longer, more focused writing sessions? Do you need complete silence, or would you rather have some kind of sound around you? Once you figure out how and when you're most productive, you can design your routine around that. Let's say you know that after 30 minutes, your focus starts to drift. Great! Write for 30 minutes, take a break, and then see how you feel. Maybe you're ready to dive back in, or maybe you need to recharge. Either answer is fine. It's all about paying attention to your own rhythms and being flexible. Remember, your writing routine should work for you, not the other way around. And here's another tip. Give yourself permission to adapt. If your energy shifts throughout the day, that's okay. Maybe you're not a morning person, but there are days when you feel energized at 9 a.m., lean into that. Or perhaps you planned a long writing session, but halfway through, your focus drops. Instead of forcing yourself to power through, try switching to a different task like brainstorming or editing. Flexibility is your ally here. Now, onto something a little more tech-based. AI tools can help maintain your writing momentum. Wait, AI? Yep, we're talking about AI. If you're feeling overwhelmed or stuck, AI is your secret weapon to help you keep the words flowing. No, it's not about letting a machine write your book for you. Think of it more like having a brainstorming buddy who's always available and never judges. Let's say you're stuck on a scene and have no idea what happens next. You can ask an AI tool like ChatGPT, which is my personal favorite, what should happen next in this argument between my characters? Or how can I describe this setting in a way that feels more vivid? The AI's suggestions can help you get unstuck, spark new ideas, and push past that dreaded writer's block. And it doesn't stop there. AI tools can help you organize your thoughts, generate outlines, track your writing goals, and even keep an eye on your progress. It's like having a virtual assistant for your writing journey. That way, it takes off some of that cognitive load, so you can focus on being creative instead of bogged down by logistics. But a quick note here. AI is a tool, not a replacement. Got a story idea that's burning to get out, but not sure how to kick it off? The Plotbot is your fast track to turning that spark into a full-fledged plot. For less than the price of a coffee and a cookie, you'll have a customized AI chatbot at your fingertips, helping you shape your story in minutes. Grab it now at the link below and start writing your novel today. Use it to enhance your creativity, not dictate it. AI can suggest directions, but you're the one steering the ship. It's a co-pilot that helps you navigate, but you're still the one in control. And here's a major motivation booster: remembering your why. Writing is tough. There's a reason more people have PhDs than have written books. Some days it's so tempting to give up, push the laptop away, and binge watch a show instead. When that happens, it's time to reconnect with your why. Why did you start writing in the first place? What's the driving force behind your desire to tell this story? Maybe it's the joy of crafting a world from scratch, the thrill of sharing your unique perspective, or the dream of holding your published book in your hands. Whatever it is, keep that why front and center. Write it down. Make it your phone wallpaper. Tape it to your wall. And when you're feeling stuck or unmotivated, revisit it. Remind yourself what's pulling you forward. That's the fire that'll keep you going, even on days when the writing feels like a slog. Now, I'm not saying you can never binge watch a show. Of course you can. I've done it plenty of times. But make sure to think about your book and your characters before you do. After a point, you'll get sick of other people's worlds and want to return to your own. Now, let's talk about a big one for ADHD folks: hyperfocus. You know those moments when you're so deep into something that the world around you just melts away? Yeah, that's hyperfocus. And it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's incredible. You're in the zone, words are flying out of you, and you're feeling unstoppable. But on the other hand, it can lead to neglecting other things or burning out because you've been writing for hours without even realizing it. The trick? Embrace hyperfocus when it comes, but set up boundaries. When you feel yourself slipping into that deep focus zone, turn off notifications, close extra tabs, and let the people around you know that you're in the middle of a serious writing session. Use that burst of energy to your advantage. Hyperfocus sessions are some of the most productive and rewarding times for writing, so make the most of them when they strike. Just be mindful of when it's time to step away and recharge, but do remember to check in with yourself. Are you still feeling energized? Great, keep going. Are you starting to feel drained? That's your cue to step back, hydrate, take a break, and maybe come back later. Hyperfocus is powerful, but it's also important to respect your limits. And remember to hydrate before your session. Nothing drains you faster than being dehydrated. And now, let's flip the script on reward systems. Traditional rewards don't always cut it for ADHD and autistic brains, and there's a reason for that. Waiting until the end of a task to reward yourself is just setting yourself up for frustration. That's because our brains don't often see these two unrelated things as connected. Instead, try pairing the reward with the task itself. Here's what I mean. Hey there! If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps me out and lets me know I'm on the right track with content you love. Thanks for the support. Love snacks? Have your favorite snack or coffee while you're writing? Obsessed with a particular type of music? Blast it during your writing session. The same goes for your comfort movie or show. By pairing something you love with the act of writing, you create a positive feedback loop that trains your brain to actually enjoy writing time. Over time, these small pleasures build up, making the whole process feel way more enjoyable and less like a chore. Think of it as setting the stage. You're creating an environment that makes you want to write because it's filled with things you enjoy. This way, writing isn't just about getting words on the page, it's about experiencing a moment you look forward to. Another thing that can zap your motivation is feeling stuck. We've all been there, hitting that one part of the story where nothing seems to work, and suddenly, all the excitement for writing drains away. Now, if you think I'm going to talk about AI again, I'm not. Because there's a different solution, right out of order. Yep, throw linear storytelling out the window. If you're pumped about a scene that happens 3 chapters later, write it. If you're itching to get into a juicy dialogue exchange or that thrilling action moment, go ahead and put it down, even if you're not there yet in the story. Writing out of order allows you to follow the sparks of creativity and keep your motivation high. You can always rearrange the pieces later, but for now, the goal is to keep writing the parts that excite you. I've written over 200 books, and I've never written even one of them in order. In fact, I've never even met a writer who's written it in order either. That's why when you hit a scene that feels slow or frustrating, skip it. Write what's fun for you at the moment. This way, you'll keep your momentum going and prevent the dreaded writer's block from creeping in. And here's a vital tip for neurodiverse writers that is often overlooked: self-compassion. It's easy to get down on yourself during the low motivation days, but motivation ebbs and flows, and it's related to energy. It's not always going to be 100% go time, and that's okay. Being kind to yourself is just as important as sticking to your writing goals. When writing gets tough, practice self-compassion, but usually small breaks are all you need to recharge. Step away from your desk for a few minutes. Go for a walk. Do something you love that isn't writing related, like cooking, sketching, or even playing a video game. This is especially true after a hyperfocus session because while they are great for bursts of creativity, they can also lead to burnout. And burnout is the enemy of motivation. If you're pushing yourself too hard without taking time to recharge, you're going to hit a wall, and that wall is nearly impossible to climb back over once you're there. So, give yourself permission to rest, and I mean actually rest. Not the kind of rest where you're sitting there feeling guilty for not writing, but real, guilt-free rest. It's all part of the process. Your brain needs downtime to process all the ideas and creativity swirling around in there. Sometimes the best ideas come when you're not even thinking about your book. Here's another tip that often gets overlooked: the importance of variety. Got thoughts or questions about the video? Drop them in the comments below. I love hearing what you think, and it helps me create even better content for you. Let's chat. For neurodiverse writers, an element of novelty is essential. If you're doing the same thing in the same way over and over again, it's no surprise that your motivation fizzles out. This is where mixing things up comes into play. Variety keeps your brain engaged, interested, and curious. So, let's talk about how you add variety to your writing routine. It can be as simple as changing the medium. If you usually type your stories, try writing by hand for a while. Grab a notebook, a pen, and just start scribbling. You'd be surprised how different the creative process feels when you switch from keyboard to paper. Or just try typing on a different computer entirely. For example, I have both a big desktop and a little Chromebook. I like my Chromebook better for writing because the keyboard is smaller and fits my hands better, and that matters, to me at least. Sometimes a fresh approach like this is all it takes to unlock new ideas or help you see your story from a different perspective. Or flip it around. If you usually write by hand, give typing a try, or even use voice dictation to get your ideas out. You can also switch up your surroundings, like I mentioned earlier, or dive into a completely different part of your story. Variety is a great way to keep things fresh and prevent that dreaded creative burnout. And here's another big one: experimenting with your process. This is something I do constantly. There are books I've written for the sole purpose of trying out a new process. There's this pressure to follow a set writer's routine, but honestly, that's all nonsense. If it's not working for you, it's not working. Don't be afraid to throw the rulebook out the window and experiment with what feels good. And while we're experimenting, let's talk about shifting genres. Sometimes, if you're feeling stuck or your motivation is on the decline, it helps to step outside your comfort zone. Write something completely different for a bit, something you've never tried before. If you've been working on a fantasy novel for months, why not take a break and write a short horror story, a piece of creative nonfiction, or even a poem? Shifting genres can shake things up creatively and reignite your enthusiasm. It's also a way to play and have fun with your writing, without feeling like everything has to be perfect or tied to your main project. Sometimes taking a break from your novel to experiment with a totally new genre can spark ideas that you can bring back to your primary story. And who knows, you might discover a whole new genre that you love writing in. That's how I shifted to romantic fantasy. Another overlooked but important strategy is embracing imperfection. We've touched on this earlier, but let's go deeper because this issue is huge. This is especially critical for neurodiverse writers like us, where perfectionism can sneak in and sabotage your progress. Perfectionism is like quicksand for motivation. The more you try to make every word perfect, the more stuck you get. And when you're stuck, motivation drops like a rock. So, the best way to break free from this perfectionist trap is to embrace imperfection. Start by giving yourself permission to write badly. Yes, I said it. badly. Your first draft doesn't need to win any awards. In fact, it shouldn't. Its only job is to exist. If you can let go of the idea that your writing has to be brilliant right off the bat, you'll free yourself to actually write. Bad drafts can always be revised, but you can't revise a blank page. And here's a tip that might just change your entire writing experience. Change your mindset from "I have to" "I get to." Think about it. When you say, "I have to write today," it immediately feels like a chore. It's something you're forcing yourself to do, and that kills motivation fast. But when you switch it to "I get to write today," it feels like a privilege. Like you're lucky to have the opportunity to create. That's powerful. That's exciting. And the more you lean into that excitement, the easier it becomes to stay motivated. Now let's explore another tactic: visualizing your success. Neurodiverse writers often struggle with long-term goals because they can feel distant or abstract. But what if you could make that future success feel real right now? Try this. Close your eyes and visualize what it will feel like when you finish your novel. Picture yourself holding the printed book in your hands. Imagine readers diving into your world, getting lost in your story. How does that feel? Exciting, right? Motivating. Absolutely. And if you're having trouble visualizing this, that's fine. It's normal. Instead, make up a character to fill in for you and picture it. That usually makes the difference, and it will bring up the same feelings. By tapping into the emotions tied to your long-term goal, you make that goal feel more concrete. And when something feels real, it's easier to stay motivated because you're working toward a feeling, not just a concept. Take a few minutes each day to visualize what success looks like for you. It's not just about seeing the end goal, it's about feeling it. You might even write down what that day looks like. Are you celebrating with friends? Signing copies of your book? Receiving messages from readers who love your story? Got a story idea that's burning to get out but not sure how to kick it off? The Plotbot is your fast track to turning that spark into a full-fledged plot. For less than the price of a coffee and a cookie, you'll have a customized AI chatbot at your fingertips, helping you shape your story in minutes. Grab it now at the link below and start writing your novel today.